स्वादयन्निह सर्वेषाम् त्रय्यन्तार्थम् सुदुर्ग्रहम् स्तोत्रयामास योगीन्द्रः तम् वन्दे यामुनाह्वयम्। नमो नमो यामुनाय यामुनाय नमो नमः। नमो नमो यामुनाय यामुनाय नमो नमः। यत्पदाम्भोरुहध्यान विध्वस्ताशेषकल्मषः वस्तुतामुपयातोऽहम् यामुनेयम् नमामि तम्। स्वधर्मज्ञानवैराग्य साध्यभक्त्येकगोचरः नारायणः परम् ब्रह्म गीताशास्त्रे समीरितः। श्रीमान् वेङ्कटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदान्ताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्ताम् सदा हृदि।
अस्थान स्नेह कारुण्य धर्म अधर्म धिया आकुलम पार्थम प्रपन्नम उद्दिश्य शास्त्र अवतरणम कृतम। This is the essence of the beginning, first chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. What is the attitude of Arjuna towards the war which has been planned, called the Mahabharata war? Please note that Sahadeva was asked to fix the date, even accepted by Duryodhana, the opposite party, because Sahadeva is understood to be very neutral, impartial, and knowledgeable to fix the date, to start the war. So he fixed a new moon day. And again, unfortunately, Bhima's son, through Hidimbi, is sacrificed, called Bali in Sanskrit, in order to start the war. The war itself is a yaga, yes, sacrifice, yajnam. Tamil is called Velvi. We have got so many other terms also. Karatuhu, we say, Karatuhu. So many words are there. So it is a Mahabharata Yajnam. The war itself for a Kshatriya is a duty. The duty of a royal family is to fight. Not of course unnecessarily, okay. So to expand the kingdom, he has to do it. Or if the enemies attack him, the king must retaliate. Therefore, the war is necessary. It is one of the pastimes also, one of the pleasure pursuits also. But then many people will question against the war, saying it involves a lot of violence, including the duty of a king in the action of hunting in the forest. And again, when some other king invites a king to gamble, he invites for gambling game, he cannot refuse, saying that I don't know the art of the game, or I don't want to engage in myself in the game, or that way. You cannot even expose your ignorance as a royal person or a royal member. So you have to accept the invitation and play the game. These have been the leisure pursuits of a king. We don't know the purpose generally, as we live in this era in a different atmosphere. We do not know why the rules, the 7th chapter of Manusmriti, the 7th chapter of Manusmriti gives all the rules for the king. King how should a king rule, administer a kingdom. And one of the important aspects is how much a government should tax people. It is 1/6 of the income. 1/6 of the income is the income tax to be paid back to the government. So these are all certain things. So Manusmriti gives a lot of rules. The 7th chapter is meant for Raja Dharma. So Raja Dharma is now being instructed on the topic Raja Dharma by Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Now, the problem with Arjuna now in this context is he has some affection, sneha. Sneha is friendship, as we say in Tamil. Snehitaha, friend. Mitram, Suhrit. We have got different words for friend in Sanskrit. Not only he has affection, friendship, but also karunyam. He has got sympathy, mercy, compassion. So all these are now out of place. Asthana. What a beautiful coincidence between the English language and the Sanskrit language. Sthana is place. Asthana doesn't mean no place. It is out of place. Arjuna is sympathetic towards the enemies. Asthana is out of place. He has no affection out of place. Affection towards people who don't deserve affection, nor sympathy, karunyam. Duryodhana and the other brothers feel that they must alone inherit the property of the ancestors. And therefore, the Hastinapura as the capital, the kingdom of Kurus, K-U-R-U. Kuru is the name of the ancestor, one of the kings of the race. They wanted to take away the property and deny the due share of the Pandavas. And therefore, they don't deserve affection. So Asthana Sneha Karunyam is both the affection or what we call filial prema, love, filial love, brotherly love, and sympathy, mercy, compassion are now in Arjuna out of place, which the other party, namely Kauravas, do not deserve. And of course, Dhritarashtra was also responsible for their mistakes, and he also instigated the his own sons to go against the Pandavas, or you can say he remained silent, or he remained passive, and so on. So now the second quarter of the 5th verse, now we have what we call the distinction between dharma and adharma. The righteousness in administration, and also the duty consciousness, and also the non-performance of the duty. That is what we call swerving from the right path, adharma. So what happens? Arjuna is confused now. Arjuna is restless now. Arjuna has moha now. Moha, confusion. So dhihi is buddhi. So we saw instead of jnana yoga the word dhihi in the 4th verse. Karma dhir bhakti. So dhir is jnanam. So wisdom is lacking now. Not only lacking, it is also confusing him. Akulam, he is disturbed. He is mentally not stable. He is mentally what do you call, wavering in mind. Dhiya akulam. You have to separate it as dhiya akulam. Again, so dharma, adharma, dhiya akulam. So Partham, who is he? He is the son of Pruthu. Pruthu is another name for Kunti. These three, or rather four, before marriage Karna and after marriage Yudhishthira, Bhima and Arjuna are the sons of Kunti. So he is called Partha. So Partham, in the case of Kunti, a mother, a good mother of good sons. Lord Adi Shankaracharya gives a verse called a stotram called the Matru Panchakam. He describes how a mother is always of sacrificing nature. She is never selfish. A mother is never selfish. So a mother is always a good mother. And he says, Kuputro bhavet. A bad son may be there, but Kumata na bhavati. There is no bad mother at all, especially towards the sons, the children. Whether they are her children or somebody else's children. The mother is always compassionate. She never does harm to the children. She never thinks of doing harm. So such a good mother. He had a good mother. Arjuna had a good mother. Partham. So Partham, whereas all the other sons of Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana and others, the very name, I told many people, it starts with either D-U-R or D-U-S-H, Dur or Dush, according to the Sandhi of the next word. Dur meaning bad, Dush also meaning bad. So the Dur becomes Dush in Sandhi. So even the sister, only one sister of Duryodhana brothers is called Dushala. There was one sister. Rama also had one elder sister. Anybody is aware of the name of the sister, elder sister of Rama? Any idea?
Santa.
Whom did she get married to? She is married to Rishyashringa, the son-in-law of Dasharatha. Rishyashringa comes to Ayodhya to perform Putrakameshti Yaga for the sake of the father-in-law to beget children, especially sons. Okay, Rishyashringa, not Rishishringa, Rishyashringa, R-S-H-Y-A. The single name, it's a single name. Shringa will be horn, H-O-R-N, horn of an animal. Or you can say peak of the mountain is called Shringam. Anything top. We are Rishyashringa. Okay, so here we are not deviating. So Partham, now Prapannam. So he has now fallen at the feet of the Lord. Prapanna. So a Prapanna only can be advised, not anybody else. Lord Krishna says at the end of the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna that if anyone asks you the advice, you please give. Otherwise, don't give. Only when you are asked, you give. So when only one is demanded, then one can transfer. So here, Prapannam, since Arjuna calls himself in the second chapter, Prapannam, Sadhimam Tvam Prapannam, he says, Karpanya Dosha Upahatat Svabhavaha, Pruchhami Tvam Dharma Samudha Chetaha, Yat Shreyasyam Nishchitam Bruhitanme. Shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. The exact term Gita Sangraha takes, so Yamunacharya adopts that term. So prapannam, so uddishya, for the purpose of that prapannam, uddishya, towards the aim is to advise him. So uddishya, shastra avataranam kritam. Shastra, what are the injunctions of the ancient Sanatana Dharma sciences? That is Shastra. Shastra is nothing but starting with the scriptures. The meaning of the scriptures explained by Smritis, Dharma Shastras, other Dharma Shastras like Grishya Sutras, then Itihasas like Ramayana and Mahabharata, and even the Kavyas. All the Kavyas, all the literature in any language will always have the four goals of human life. And therefore, Shastra Avataranam. So just like Krishna, in Lord Krishna incarnated on the earth as a child of Devaki and reared by Yashoda, he came down in Dwapara Yuga. And therefore, now Shastra Avataranam Kritam, done. What you call, you can say, unloading. So the unloading of Shastra, Avataranam, in the present computer world, it will be uploading or unloading. So unloading the Shastra from the scriptures and other sciences easily, so it will be easy for Arjuna. Arjuna is the name of a tree also. In Tamil, Maruda Maram is called Arjuna. Here it is Partha is given. Because every time normally a man or a woman is reminded of his or her mother. Any child will remember immediately the mother's name. Recognize the mother. First, the youngest offspring will always remember the mother, identifies the mother. Therefore, Partham, now Prithu's son, he is still a child. Arjuna is still a child here. Though he is aged, he is a youth. But still, when coming to this Mahabharata war, and he feels very weak, not feel very weak in the mind, not physically, but he shows affection towards an undeserving group. And therefore, asthana sneha karunyam. This is not to be practiced in dharma. It will be adharma. Even showing affection towards the undeserving people will be adharma. Generally, Lord is always impartial. He doesn't make a difference between so many things like economic, social hierarchy. Therefore, so Partham Prapannam Uddishya Shastra Avataranam. This verse is very simple as it seems by the meaning, the literal meaning, but we will have to see the commentary if there are some deep thoughts over this. Why Asthana Sneha? This Asthana Sneha Karunyam, this particular first quarter expression, has been taken into consideration seriously by Sri Ramanujacharya in his Gita Bhashya. And we will see now the commentary of Gitartha Sangraha Raksha of Vedanta Deshika. One. What is Asthana Sneha Karunya Dharma Dharma Dhiyatulam? Now, the last expression, Dharma Dharma Dhiyakulam in the first half, must be separated as Dharma Adharma Dhiya. That is 3 words there. It's a compound word. Dharma Dharma Dhiya Akulam is separate. It's a, what we call instrument, the word in instrumental case, with an intellect, with a mind, with a thought, without knowing the difference of dharma and adharma, Arjuna tries to show affection and sympathy towards the undeserving people. And therefore, he is akulam. He is disturbed, mentally imbalanced. Partham prapannam uddishya shastravatarana. Now, what is shastrartha? Shastra avataranam is there. So, bringing down to understand the shastra. So, what is the meaning of the word shastra? Shastrartha, Shatkatrayartha cha. So, all the 3 groups of 6 chapters give us the meaning of the sciences, ancient sciences. Shastrartha, Shatkatrayartha. Shatkam 6, the groups of 6, all the 3, Traya, Arthaha. So this will be giving the meaning of the all the 18 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Chaturbihi Shlokaihi Sangrihita. Now, Vedanta Swami Vedanta Deshika gives you the preamble, prelude. How many shlokas will constitute this Shastrartha? The meaning of the sciences, namely Chaturbihi Shlokaihi. Of course, number from I think 5. Chaturbihi Shlokai by 4 shlokas. Sangrihita. Sri Yamunacharya has abridged the meaning of the Shastra in 4 shlokas. Now, the beauty of Gita Sangraha is all the 32 verses are in Anushtup Chandas. Namely, only 8 syllables per quarter. Totally 32 syllables per verse, per stanza. And therefore, you can always call it commonly as shlokaha. Otherwise, if they have different number of syllables in each verse, then we will call them stotram if it is a devotional song, or padyam, meaning the stanza. Here all the shlokas are, all the verses are shlokas. Ita param. After this, Ita param is there hereafter. Ashtadashabhihi shlokaihi prati adhyayam arthaha sangrishyante. So he gives you the introduction. He gives us the introduction that in the next 18 shlokas after the 4, Ita param hereafter. Ashtadashabhihi, by 18 shlokas, shlokaihi, prati adhyayam, every chapter, arthaha, the meanings, the import, the inner meaning, sangrishyante, is abridged. The inner meaning is abridged. Inner meaning is given in a nutshell, or the meanings are given in short, in brief, and so on. Tatra, there. So it's a big paragraph. So shoka tat apanodana rupa katha avantara sangatya maharshina prathama dvitiya adhyaya vibhage krite api shastra etat upodghata rupa artha vibhaga, guy is missing. Maybe in English it will be right, maybe right. Vibhage, okay. Vibhage. It should be vibhaga, not vibhage. Sangatya Mahishna Prathama Dvitiya Adhyaya Vibhage Kritepi. Sanskrit it is different, in English it is different. Sanskrit is Vibhaga Jnapanaya. Ga must be added. Vibhaga Jnapanaya. Vibhaga. Vibhaga, not Vibga. Vibhaga. Vibhaga. Long vowel. Vibhaga. Right. So Vibhaga, you can put a dash also, Jnapanaya. So here, so let us read that. So Vibhaga Jnapanaya. In English it is again Vibhage Kritepi. Vibhage Kritepi. Again, can we continue? Dvitiya Ekadeshamapi Prathama Shlokena Sangrinati. The last sentence in this page will be Tad Vyanjanayacha Tam Vacha Rishikesha. Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, 10th shloka. Iti asmat purvam artha vyakhyana purvakam. Purvam artham. It should be vyakhyana. In both English and Sanskrit, it is missing. KH is missing. KH is missing. Vyakhyana purvakam. Last line. In the last line. Vyakhyana purvakam. Yeah. Vyakhyana. Sorry, KH and OA. OA. Vyakhyana purvakam. KH OA. OA. And bar over A. Vyakhyana. Right. So also in English. Okay, good. So, thank you. So, Vyakhyana Purvakam Ayam Shlokaha, Ayam Shloko is then Ayam Shlokaha, Bhashyakarihi Udakritaha. So, let us go to the second line, second line of the commentary. So, Shoka Tat Apanoda Rupaka Rupa Kathavantara Sangatya Maharshina Prathama Dvitiya Adhyaya Vibhage Kritepi. Okay. Vibhage Kritepi. Shastra etat upodghata rupa artha vibhaga jnapanaya dvitiya eka desham api prathama shlokena sangrinati tad vyanjanaya cha tam uvacha rishikesha iti asmat purvam arthavyakhyana purvakam ayam shloko bhashyakaraihi udahrita. Maybe I am reading very fast. If you don't want me to read fast, I will read it slowly for you. But while taking the meaning, we will be very slow according to your requirement. So, evam, in this way, come to the second paragraph. Shoka. So, tatra shokaha. Now, what is the result of this? What is confusion, moha of Arjuna? Now, Vedanta Deshika gives you the reason why Arjuna has two attitudes. Number one, Asthana Sneha and Asthana Karunya. The affection out of place and sympathy out of place. So both are the results of confusion. Akulaha. The word Akulam is in the last word in the first half. Akulam. So that is the outcome of grief, sadness on the part of Arjuna. If you go through the first chapter completely, then we will understand why he is sad, why he is confused, so why he is melancholic. So that is Shoka. In the case of Valmiki, towards cursing the hunter, his grief became 24,000 slokas. Fortunately, there is only 700 and odd. For the sake of Arjuna, Lord Krishna gives advice. Not only for Krishna, of course, people like Arjuna, including us. So Shoka, the grief, the sadness, and then Tad Apanodana Rupa. What is the remedy for removing that sadness? Tat Apanodanam. Apanodanam is removing the grief, deleting the sadness. Then that it will be the Rupa, the form of deletion. What is the process of deletion of the Shoka? And we have to explain it through story also, Katha. So Katha Vantara, some other story also. Now please remember, Mahabharata has got 1 lakh slokas and many prose passages also. And in regard to the shlokas, out of 1 lakh shlokas in the Mahabharata, only 20,000 refer to the hero and his associates. For example, Arjuna or Yudhishthira. So all the Pandavas are heroes of the Mahabharata, as all we understand. And there are only 20,000. So 80,000, the majority of Mahabharata are all what we call anecdotes, allusions, connected with the main story, but it is all those stories are for general advice, instructions for dharma. And the entire Mahabharata consists of, just like any other kavya, any other piece of literature in any language, especially Sanskrit, involves 4 human goals of life: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. All the 4 are contained in Mahabharata. Here, so Shoka Tad Apanodana Rupa Kathavantara. So another story is brought in to make Arjuna understand and remove his own grief. So Sangatya, by associating, by attaching, by adding Sangatya. So who is doing this all this? Vyasa Maharishina. So Maharishina, it involves a lot of people because Mahabharata is being narrated by Pauranika, Vaishampayana, the sage, or any sage that imparts knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So taking the cue from Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna's words are used in Bhagavad Gita directly, and Vyasa explains all the principles. So Maharishina, here it refers to Vyasa Maharishi. So Maharishina, he only makes a link of so many other stories in order to remove the grief of Arjuna. One example will be, classic example will be, Draupadi is asking a question whether there are people or even one person suffering more than Draupadi. She is in the forest for 12 years and one year of incognito, Ajnatavas, because Shakuni helped Duryodhana to win the gambling game and Pandavas were defeated. The agreement was 12 years of forest life plus 1 year of incognito. And if during the 1 year of incognito, if their identity is recognized, then again 12 years of forest life and 1 year of incognito. That was the agreement for the defeated people. So when Draupadi asking, who is there suffering more than her? There, a sage called Brihadashva gives a reply. Dear child, please hear a story of Damayanti and Nala. So Nala Damayanti Katha is there. So we call it as Kathavantara Sangatya. It is not a sadistic pleasure that Draupadi is asking to have, saying, trying to know whether there is someone else who suffers more than her. No, it is just to appease her own grief, to bring down her own sadness, in order to make his grief shorten. And therefore, after hearing Damayanti story, she feels, oh, another person is there, another lady is there who is suffering more, then that means I have not suffered more than her. So in that way, Kathavantara Sangatya Maharshina. So this Maharshi, so what did he do? What did Vedavyasa the sage do? So Prathama, Dvitiya, Adhyaya Vibhage. In the first two chapters, while separating the first two chapters, Prathama and Dvitiya, Kritepi, though he did it. So in the first Adhyaya, Arjuna Vishada Yogo Nama Prathamodhyaya. The first chapter is called Arjuna's grief, Arjuna's sadness. Then we have got Karma Yoga in Dvitiya Adhyaya. Second chapter involves Karma Yoga. So though it has been said, of course, not through stories in the Bhagavad Gita, but in Mahabharata. Kritepi, Shastra etat upodghata rupa. Now the sciences should be brought in. So in order to understand the meaning of the sciences, namely scriptures, Tatu upodghata, as an introduction to that Shastra, namely scriptures, then form rupa in the form of introduction forward to the understanding of scriptures, Artha Vibhaga Jnapanaya, in order to remind. Jnapanaya is reminding. Jnapakam we say in Tamil also, memory. So Jnapanaya, in order to remind Arjuna that Artha Vibhaga, the meaning, the department, you can say, the section of meaning of in the form of introduction to the sciences, namely scriptures, then Dvitiya Ekadeshamapi. So in the second chapter, in all places, Ekadeshamapi meaning particularly in every place. Prathama Shlokena Sangrina. Now, this is about Gita Sangraha's essence of statement, the essential statement of the first chapter after the fourth sloka. So Dvitiya Ekadeshamapi, even a single point, Prathama Shlokena Sangrina. By the first verse, he is trying, he is abridging, he is making it brief. So Tat Vyanjanaya, in order to explain that also, explain in the meaning Vyanjanaya, to give the inner meaning also. Vyanjanam is inner meaning. Vyangyam we say otherwise. So Tam Uvacha Rishikesha. So that is these are the expressions in Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, 10th sloka. So iti asmat, from this onwards, from this particular 10th verse onwards in second chapter, sorry, as well as the first sloka of the abridgment of the first chapter of the Gita Sangraha of Sri Yamunacharya, So Purvam, Asmat Purvam, so earlier to this verse, either 10 of the Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, or now we are now going to see 4 shlokas on the Shastrarthas given there. So Purvam earlier, Artha Vyakhyana Purvakam, explaining the meaning. This will be preceding the meaning of the first chapter. So Ayam Shlokaha, this shloka, this verse has been taken as an example by Bhashyakara. Bhashyakaraihi. Swami Vedanta Deja has got very high respect for Sri Ramanujacharya. Therefore, he uses Bahuvachanam, plural. Instead of saying Bhashyakarena Udakritaha, he says Bhashyakaraihi Udakritaha. So the immediate preceptor in the clan of Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya is given more respect by Bahuvachanam. We always use plural while addressing great people. Even for any child, we must address it in respectful word singular. Even in singular, respectful word is there. Bhavan is there. Bhavan. So Bhavan Bhagavad Gita Pathatu. You please read the Bhagavad Gita. We don't say Tvam Patha. Tvam Patha means, also means you read. So Tvam is a little less in respect. Not exactly, of course. In English, YOU is there. We don't know whether you give respect or not. Here, special word is there. This Bhavan will be used with only, of course, not used with what we call Madhyama Purusha verbs. Not in second person verb. It will be used with third person verb. There is a special grammatical peculiarity of the respectful word. Bhavan. Okay, so Bhashyakarihi, by the preceptor, namely Sri Ramanujacharya, so by Sri Ramanujacharya, Udakritaha, it has been illustrated, taken as example. Tamuvacha Rishikesha is the 10th shloka of second chapter, which has been taken as an example to understand the meaning of the Vedic sciences, and also to remind ourselves the meaning of the first 2 chapters, then deeply all the other chapters also. In that way, Bhashyakara is so sympathetic towards, has got affection towards the future devotees like us, will to make us understand what is the what the import of the Bhagavad Gita is. So with that, we come to the end of the 33rd paragraph, the commentary of the verse number 5. Over to the participants.
So, Swami, a few things that I wanted to highlight in this commentary. Firstly, this is the first of 18 verses that are going to spotlight each and every chapter. So previously the system was that Yamunacharya has divided the Gita into 3 parts of 6 chapters, and he's explained basically that the first part is about Karma Yoga, the second part is about Jnana Yoga, and the third part is about Bhakti Yoga. Then he told us that the third part is also divided into 3 chapters from 13, 14, and 15, 16, 17, and 18. And those, he's explained that those are slightly different. And he's also explained that the conclusion, the last 6 chapters also include restating what was stated before, and also giving any other details that were left out. So Purva Shesha. Now he's starting a new scheme of 18 verses, 1 verse for each chapter. So this verse, in the commentary, we start to hear about the first chapter, and the first chapter is Arjuna's grief. And I just thought it was very interesting. Also, though, he touches on the second chapter, which goes back to his statement in the commentary that each chapter leads into the next chapter, right? So he also, as well as in the commentary, Swami Deshika is talking about not only the first chapter, but he also touches on the second chapter, which is in keeping with his idea that every chapter leads into the next chapter, and every succeeding chapter also contains something from the previous chapter. So all the chapters are linked in a chain, and that they are not completely separate. So he describes about he uses in the Mula text, he uses the word prapanam. So my question is, here you describe that Arjuna becomes a prapana of Krishna. He surrenders to Krishna in order to learn about dharma and adharma. But is this different from the prapana, from becoming a prapana in the way that we understand it normally in Sri Vaishnavism? Is it just a type of surrender that is spoken of in the fourth chapter, that when one approaches a guru, that he should pariprashnena sevaya uparik, he should serve, and he should be submissive to the guru in order to learn something? Or does this word prapana have a special meaning here? Does it also mean that Arjuna is performing prapati in the first chapter itself?
The word prapanna is to be understood here as a comprehensive term which includes the present day Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya tradition. And also a prapanna, as you said, pranipatya pariprashnena sevaya, as you mentioned here. Falling at the feet of the divine feet of the preceptor, here the Lord, here Krishna, and then serve him and question him. Pariprashnena, by inquiring, asking for clarifications from the doubts that arise. Now, this is the result of Arjuna becoming a prapanna, is a result of his confusion over the affection unnecessarily shown to the undeserving people. And therefore he is confused. The confused man should always surrender to the God. He is earlier than any other prapanna who has no doubts about the supremacy of the Lord. So here, today I went through one of the aspects of the what we call Sharanagati. When you say Sharanagati, all these limbs are there. Whether Arjuna practiced step by step like Karpanyam, already he has mentioned very clearly. Karpanya dosha upahatat svabhavaha aham. I am now helpless. I have got akinchanyam. I have no other refuge, no other shelter, no other succor, except to reach your feet and ask for doubt. Karpanyam is there. Whether we follow, whether he followed strictly according to the what we say now, step by step. First Karpanyam or Akinchanyam, then Pratikulya Varjanam, then Anukulya Sankalpaha, then Goptrutva Varanam, Rakshishyati iti Mahajishvasa, then Prapattihi. Now the problem with Arjuna here is confusion. Therefore, he could not have followed all steps in the order with which we now present the tradition. So he doesn't know what to avoid and what to follow. Pratikulya Varjanam also he doesn't know, and then Anukulya Sankalpaha also he is not aware of Anukulya Sankalpaha. The only thing he knows now is Goptrutva Varanam. He understands now Lord Krishna is the only refuge, the only God to be chosen as a shelter, That's all. So nothing else. And therefore he becomes a friend. Not even Prapanna. Arjunaha Sakha. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno, Yatra Partho Dhanurdhara. When these two are together, Tatra Shrihi, Vijayaha, Bhutihi, Dhruva Nitihi, Matir Mama. So because these two are only friends, that's why we say Vedas, the scriptures, are like masters, controllers, dictators, tyrants to order, to give orders. Then Purana, the Puranas, the 18 are including Mahabharata and Bhagavatam, are friends. Sugrit Samhita they are called. They are called Sugrit Samhita. Whereas Vedas are called Prabhu Samhita. They are masters. They will order us as we are servants. We are all slaves. Then Purana is Purana, Smriti, Dharmajatra, Sugrit Samhita. Whereas even Itihasas like Ramayanam, Ramayanam being the first Kavyam, Adi Kavyam, the composition is the first composition on the earth, in poetical form, plus Mahabharata, the another Itihasa, also is a compendium of lot of verses, a lot of shastras. Of course, it's called, as we all know, the fifth scripture also. Whereas Ramayana is known as scripture becoming Ramayana. Vedaha prachetada dasit Ramayana Atma. So the soul of Ramayana is scripture. And therefore, to follow these kavyas, these works, literary works, become what we call the wife-like, and advice coming from a wife-like. Kanta Samhita is called. Veda is Prabhu Samhita, Shruti is Prabhu Samhita, Purana, Smriti, etc. are Sugrit Samhita, and whereas Kavyas like Mahabharata, Ramayana are Kanta Samhita, a wife advising the husband. So the husband definitely will accede to will hear the advice and follow the advice, practice the advice. Now Arjuna is not very strict in the terms of our present tradition, namely slaves. Instead of that, he has got sakha, friendship. That's why sneha is there. So now sneha with Lord is there. He has got a sneha with Lord, but he is confused. He is restless. He doesn't know what to do. And not earlier. Before he came to the war field, Kurukshetra, he did not feel that confusion very much. Whereas after ordering Lord Krishna to bring the chariot in between the two parties, namely Pandavas and Kauravas, on the other one side 7 Akshoginis, on the other side 11 Akshoginis in the army. So in the middle of these two armies, when he is standing, he looks at all the teachers there, cousins, so many relatives. He says in the first chapter, Pitaraha. I think I can quote that very easily. Once you start the first word, I can remember. So here, all acharyas there. Acharya Pitara Putraha Tathaivacha Pitamaha. Grandfathers are there like Bhishma. Grandfather in the sense, all the people are there. Elderly, respectable people are there. Acharya Pitara Putraha Tathaivacha Pitamaha. When they are against him, he doesn't understand the seriousness that they are all against Arjunas or Pandavas, in particular to covet the property of the ancestors. COVET, covet the property of the ancestors. Then he must only take up courage to fight with them. He cannot deny that I'm a cow, I cannot fight with you. The fighting is the basic duty number 1. as a member of royal family, he cannot run away from the battlefield as a coward. Therefore, all these attitude, of course, he is not a coward. He is not Kripanaha also. He is also, so that's why he is a Karpanyam. So he is in physical strength, his Gandivam, the bow, is the most powerful. But still, he has now some thoughts. Now, generally, it is said Bhagavad Gita is not meant for Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita is meant for all the people of the world, the present people of the world. And therefore, Arjuna is only what we call Vyaja. Guise, G-U-I-S-E. This guy is for advising people of the world. Lord Krishna has made him an example. That's all. So Arjuna is a character in whose life he is very much confused. That confusion also lies in us, what to do next and what to do for the whole life and so on. So here, strictly according to the steps that we say for Prapanna, Karanagati, may not suit him, but may not belong to him. But generally, a Prapanna must have thought about what not to do and what to do, do's and don'ts of scriptures, Anukulya Sankalpa and Pratikulya Varjanam. He is very strict in Goptritva Varnam and Rakshishyati iti Mahavishwasa, there is no doubt. He says, Shishyasteham, I have become your disciple. Sadhi, give me rules, order me. Already he said to Krishna, Sadhimam Tvam Prapannam. So these are the words of Arjuna himself. And therefore, we need not doubt about the steps of surrender which he has made, whether the process was very strict or regular, but only any work, for example, Purana or Itihasa or even scripture, for example, Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad is, you know the story, very, very beautiful, small story where Nachiketas, a young boy, is asking his father the question, simple question, why do you give incapacitated, useless cows as a gift in the sacrifice? Very simple question, practical question. Useless cows are gifted, donated. Why do you give that? Then during the sacrificial time, a karta, a doer should never talk, should never make any deviation from the thought of performing sacrifice. Then he gets angry on the third time asking, he says, whom will you give, to whom will you give me as donation? Because I am your useless son. And he says, I will give you to Yama. So the rest of the story is very obvious. He gets what he calls Atmajnanam from Yama. Many people quote Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad is a beautiful Upanishad where all the people, with irrespective of caste, religion, gender, creed or color, can read that Kathopanishad because it has no swara, accents in the Upanishad. It is not, it's not a scripture with accent. Therefore, anybody can read. So here he says special verse on Atmajnanam. Atmanam rathinam vidhi, shariram rathamevatu, buddhim tu sarathim vidhi, manah pragrahamevacha. Very beautiful quotation from very oft quoted popular verse from Kathopanishad. Here the link is Lord Krishna is chariot driver, chariot, and the charioteer is Arjuna. Paramatma is driver. Jivatma, he is the individual soul, namely Arjuna. So Atmanam Rathinam Vidhi. Don't think that you are the occupant of the chariot, but please remember you are inside you, the inner soul, Antaryami is the Lord, and Lord makes you active, and therefore Arjuna is not doing anything on his own. So this type of attitude comes to him only after dropping down his weapons like Gandiva, bow and arrow. Another example of a nonchalant devotee of Lord Krishna is Sahadeva among the Pandavas. Sahadeva. In one occasion, just for joke, Lord Krishna plays with everyone. Plays fun with everyone. And it's only Leela Vibhuti here. He asked Sakadeva, should I go and stop the war as an ambassador, or should I go there as an ambassador and instigate the Kauravas to begin the war at the earliest? He is asking the question to Sakadeva. Sakadeva is the last of the Pandavas, youngest of the Pandavas. I told you about his capacities also. He is a good stable keeper, horse keeper, plus an astrologer. Of course, good in archery also. He is not less than Arjuna or Bhima in fight. But still, Sakadeva says, whether you go as an ambassador, I don't care. Whether you go and instigate to start the starting of the war, I don't care. When if you are ready to stop the war, I don't care. That's what he said. You do whatever you like, because you are the Lord. I understand. I know you very well. You will do whatever you like, even when we say go against you or say anything against you. Then why should you ask my opinion? Don't ask my opinion. You do whatever you want. If you do anything, we cannot prevent you from doing it. We cannot improve you from doing it. We cannot help you to do it. Neither we can help you to do it. All is, you are avapta samasta kama and everything. You have no action to be performed, you have no desire to be fulfilled, but you have come to help us. That's all. We are helpless and you are helpful. So that is the attitude of non-challenge attitude, unwavering attitude of Sakadeva. That is to be achieved slowly by Arjuna and people like us all.
So thank you very much. So just to recap what you were saying, we're looking at, if we look at the second chapter, although this verse is talking about the first chapter mostly, when we look at this verse in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 7, it mentions Karpanya and it mentions some aspects of property, including the word prapana. So you've highlighted that, and you said that that although not all the aspects are mentioned directly, and they are not mentioned in the order that we normally understand them, still we can understand that at this point Arjuna is becoming a prapana at this point. So in Bhagavad Gita we see that in the seventh verse of the second chapter, Arjuna actually becomes a prapana. And he mentions that to Lord Krishna. He says that. And then at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna again asks him to become a prapana by saying, Sarvadharman Prityaja, the Charama Sloka. So my question is, why is it necessary for Lord Krishna again to make a Charama Sloka at the end of Bhagavad Gita when already in the second chapter, Arjuna says, I am a prapana. I am becoming a prapana. I am falling at your feet. So why is it necessary for Krishna to ask him to become a prapana and give up everything and surrender to him in the 18th chapter when already in the second chapter from the very beginning he became a prapana?
It's a reminder, it's a gentle reminder.
Okay, so it's like a sandwich. So Arjuna is saying, I'm becoming a prapana. So we understand even from the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita that we should become prapana to Krishna. And at the end, Lord Krishna is reminding us again, yes, we should become a prapana. But as you say, there are two concepts about property amongst the Deshika Sampradaya and Tenacharya Sampradaya. The Deshika Sampradaya, they tend to say that all these other 5 aspects of Sharanagati have to be there for property to occur. But here we see in the 7th verse of the 2nd chapter, you say that not all of those aspects are mentioned, and definitely not in the same order as we usually understand them. So doesn't this point to the Tenacharya system, where the Tenacharyas are saying that property will occur naturally? The property occurs when there is karpanyam, and that the other aspects, the other 5 aspects of Sharanagati will naturally follow on, and they don't need to be there in the beginning for the property to occur.
You are right. And as we study the ancient books, starting from scriptures to Mahabharata, the Itihasa, then we deduce the steps. The hypothesis was formulated earlier. The theorem and rider are created by us now. So on the basis of the hypothesis. Therefore, the later development of these 5 steps given by the preceptors by Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya are only a reflection of what should happen in the case of Arjuna also, in the life of Arjuna also. The second point, that why Sarvadharman Parityajya again, it is easy to forget even for Arjuna. After some time, though in our practical life, I read Bhagavad Gita, you read Bhagavad Gita, you understand Bhagavad Gita deeply, but still we are always attached to mundane things of this world. We never come out of it. Now, ISKCON, I have heard saying, in my age 25, I came in contact with the Swami of ISKCON. I asked him with a very beautiful desire to go abroad, to stay abroad. For example, to become an American citizen. My ambition was to become an American citizen the earliest. I asked with this desire in heart, I asked the Swami of ISKCON, Sir, I'm a brahmachari now. I'm a bachelor now. Not the meaning of the brahmachari word doesn't mean bachelor. So I'm yet to be married. Then I'm going to be married in a short span of time, in a few months. That is in 1979. So I asked him, so I'm going to get married soon. Then if I see that your disciples are, most of them are brahmacharis, bachelors, without any encumbrances, without any commitments to the family, and they have come to you and they have surrendered to you. They are now working with you, and then why should I not join you? Either before marriage or after marriage. Can I join you after marriage? I asked him. And he said the word, you become Grihastha Brahmachari. You are a householder, but still you are going to study scriptures. You are going to talk about the Supreme Soul. You are going to think always about the Supreme Soul. So this is what I heard from him. I was very happy to hear that particular word, Grihastha Brahmachari. So he said, welcome to even a married man in the ISKCON fold, so that you will learn many things and spiritually. Why I say this is, we go with a different desire, but land in something more important and more fruitful. For example, we go to the temple with a desire, with an aim to be fulfilled. Then we change our mind. Why should we ask God, pray to God to have certain material comforts of this world? I went to an astrologer in Srirangam. I went to him, asked, giving him the horoscopes of my family members, and then asking about the future. So he was giving some suggestions, good suggestions. I believed him. I became a prapanna to him because he can be relied upon. And then for a simple thing like I wanted to buy a two-wheeler. You will be laughing at it. So you are all having four-wheeler. And so even to buy a two-wheeler, I wanted his blessing and suggestion. And he said, yes, you can buy. You can buy a two-wheeler because I was using bicycle to my college. From Ganapati Nagar, almost Srirangam area to my college in the Trichy Trichy town. Many were asking, why are you using only cycle? Why don't you buy a two? It will be easy and less tiresome. So I asked, I went and asked these astrologers for the advice. So he said, buy a two-wheeler, a new one. Don't buy an old one, second-hand one. Then take it to Gunashilam. Take it to Gunashilam, the Lord Venkatesha Sannidhi. Then bring back. The first purpose of driving the two-wheeler you should go to Gunashilam. So I said, I have no license. I'm not yet. I've gone to the learner's license, LLR. Then so I tried to go. It's a long distance, 30 miles from Tiruchirappalli. So I tried to drive, and then on the way I dashed someone. And then I came back because I felt it is apashakunam, of ill woman. Then I immediately dropped down Uttamar Koil. I think you have visited Uttamar Koil, where Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are stationed as the gods. Therefore, I went there because the temple was very nearby. I went there and then stopped the two-wheeler. Then, as you do in US today, car puja. So I mentally had a cycle puja, the two-wheeler puja, and then came back. Now, so why I say all this personal example will be, we are interested in such things, acquiring some property, using it for our comfort, and so on. Finally, sometimes we land in trouble also. For example, today, if I buy a car here, it will not be very useful. Not very useful. Therefore, today I am using Ola and Uber. So these are really practical. The Ola and Uber are more comfortable, economical, and so on. Instead of maintaining an own car, that is so why it is. Now we think of many conditions while we try to make our life more comfortable. But did we think of God in between? Did we always maintain what we call the yoga, bhakti yoga, karma yoga? Even karma yoga is not there. Jnana yoga is never there. And Jnana yoga goes into the what we call the intricacies of the comfort than on the Supreme Court. We are not thinking of the Supreme Court. So we are ready to receive blessings of the God and the preceptor, but we are interested in the worldly things. So there are people who can happily deny all the pleasures of this world. That is a difference. So why this is practically what we do. So Arjuna is as ordinary person like us. He is not very extraordinary. He is not a very unique individual, except he had association with Lord Krishna, fortunately. And had we got such an association, a God near us, then how will we behave? That's a question. So the question is whether we will believe the God who is nearby. Even for example, take the Archavatara in temples. Do we believe them sincerely, faithfully, 100%? Even if you are an Astika, you are not an Astika, you are not an atheist. But still, how much percentage do we believe? As you said, Rakshishyati iti Mahavishwasa. Sorry, I'm not blaming everybody. So I have a group which say we are all doing lip service. Many people accused me or accused people like me who are giving discourses, who are giving lectures, who are giving PowerPoint presentation. So what is the use of your advice or transferring the knowledge of advice of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita? All money matters. All money matters. They are accusing directly. Are you selling Swami Vedanta Deshika? Are you making a sale of Sri Yamunacharya's works? So the practical way of looking at it, making money out of this. I want you to pay the fees, the tuition fees. Today, for example, one personal example will be a butler from Srirangam temple. The Srirangam temple is closed. We do not know when will it open. When it will open, and we are not aware of what is going to happen to the Lord or to the devotees. We don't know. It's a suspense. And then the boy is called Aravindan. Aravindan is the son of Narasimha Bhattar in the temple. Narasimha Bhattar is about 65 or 70 years of age. So he is 40 or 45. He was my student in the college in Sanskrit. And now he is working as for a private company in IT in Chennai. He has his family there. He is now trying to first time touch the Parameshwara Samhita, which he is supposed to know very early in the young age. I don't know whether his father understands the theory, but he must know the theory. Not a single verse he has known earlier. So he is learning from me. Not only he is learning from me, he says, I am disqualified to teach him. Why I say this is, so remove this from recording. So I am disqualified because I am not a Dikshita. I am not initiated. I am not a Bhattar. I am not an Archaka of the temple. So I am only an Archaka of the temple who knows the theory and as well as the practice, and who does practically this puja, the Tiruvaradhanam, should teach. Then I said, go to some other Acharya who can teach you, who is eligible to teach you. He said, I don't find anyone. There is one more, as you know him. Pudukkottai Vasu is called, otherwise called Dr. Lakshmi Kumar, Tatacharya. He is ready to teach. Some 11 Bhattas, 11 Archakas came to him daily at 9 p.m. at this hour to his home. But slowly they retreated because they didn't want to burden themselves with the knowledge of the theory. If you look at Parameshwara Samhita, each of us will be afraid of reading it because it's a very big book. Then what is the use of this reading again and practically using it? You must use it practically. And again, so the attitude is very important. As a bhatta, the archaka must have the right attitude. If he is going to the temple and trying to earn money through the temple service, then the service is useless. So he is looking at the plate where you submit rupees. If you give 50 rupees or 100 rupees, he gives you tulasi extra. He gives water, what you call tirtham, Perumal tirtham, 2-3 times. Otherwise, only one time. If you are not giving any money, only one time. And again, if you donate more, you will have a garland, and you will have many things offered. And then keep you stand for 2 more minutes while he performs Karpura Harati, Nirajanam. All this there. Why is it is commercialized? Everything is commercialized. We also go with. I used to say to the student, in the shops in the temple, you have a small coconut, the smallest coconut possible, because we can't afford to buy. When we are ready to spend hundreds of rupees, thousands of rupees in a hotel, restaurant to eat, to take food, we are not ready to pay even for a small amount, a pittance is it, to the shop owner to buy some. And by the way, all of us know that the coconut cannot be broken, or it is not usual that it is broken by the archaka in the sanctum sanctorum, lest the yoga nidra of Sri Ranganatha will be disturbed. The sleep of Sri Ranganatha will be disturbed. Therefore, the breaking of the coconut is done near the what we call Garuda Sannidhi, behind the Garuda Sannidhi, or exactly near what we call Ranga Vilasam, where the shops are there, and then on the other side, Goda Sannidhi, Andal Sannidhi is there. So you have what we call we said a stingy attitude of the devotee. The expectation of the archaka in very great terms, very great expectations of the archaka. In between the monetary benefit that we get out of visiting a temple. All this involve our forgetting of the God.
So, Swami, I just wanted to bring it back to the Gita. Some other points I wanted to mention. Arjuna has got this doubt. Arjuna has got sorrow in the first chapter, and he has a doubt. Lord Krishna says, "Seneo ubayor madhye," bring me into the middle. And once he goes in the middle and he sees both sides. Once he comes out from his side and he goes in the middle, he sees both sides. He sees his relatives on both sides. And as you said, he sees revered persons like Bhishma, who is his grandfather. And he sees everybody there. Then he gets many doubts like that. But even there are other people in the beginning of the Gita, there are other people who have doubts. Starting from the very first verse, Dhritarashtra has a doubt. He asked Sanjaya, what is going on at the battlefield? Even though Dhritarashtra should not have any doubts, because they have, as you said, there are 11 Akshahinis versus 7 Akshahinis. They have got the majority. The Kauravas have got the bigger force, bigger army. So also, he has got 100 sons, whereas Pandu only has 5 sons. So Dhritarashtra should not have any doubt who is going to win the battle. But somehow he has got a doubt. What is going on? So he's asking Sanjaya, please tell me. So he has a doubt. Secondly, Duryodhana has a doubt. In the beginning of the first chapter, which this verse is about the first chapter, in the 7th verse, he says, "Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam paryaptam Tvedam etesham balam bhima birakshitam. So this is an interesting verse, the 10th verse of the first chapter. Most of the commentators, they say that Duryodhana is saying that he is saying to Drona, he is saying, look at the armies here. Our army is, most of the commentators say that Duryodhana is saying that our army led by Bhishma is greater than the other army led by the Pandavas, by Bhima. But Swami Ramanuja in his commentary, he says the other way around, that Duryodhana has a doubt. He sees he's got a greater army, but still he doubts whether he can win over the army of the Pandavas. So he has also got doubt. The difference is so many people have doubt. Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, even the people on both sides, all of them have doubt. The only person who has the doubt, who surrenders to Krishna, is Arjuna. He does the right thing with his doubt, and he actually becomes a prapana. Whereas Duryodhana doesn't become a prapana, Dhritarashtra doesn't become a prapana, and therefore they are vanquished because they don't become a prapana. So we have an example in the beginning of the Gita of one person who becomes a prapana, who succeeds, and the other people who are defeated because they do not become prapanas. So that, anyway, I just wanted to point that out. This first verse is about the first chapter, the sorrow of Arjuna, and about his doubt, and about him becoming, he only becomes a prapana then in the beginning of the second chapter, in the seventh verse, where he says, I'm a prapana. And then, Lord, there are a couple of verses, and then as Vedanta Deshika has pointed out in the commentary, in the 10th verse of the second chapter is the last part, and then the 11th verse begins Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, and the Supreme Lord begins to give his explanation, begins to give his commandments after that verse. So the only other things I had to ask about this particular commentary was there are two words in here, Maharishina and Bhashyakarahi. Right? As you said, Bhashyakarahi is plural and is respectful. And some other people reading this, they might look at it and they might say that Vedanta Deshika, he's talking about all of the commentaries of all the commentators on Bhagavad Gita. He's saying, all the people who have commented on Bhagavad Gita before. But you have rightly said that what he is saying is he's specifically spotlighting or focusing on Sripad Ramanujacharya, his commentary on Bhagavad Gita, and he is glorifying him by using plural and being very respectful. So this other you were also saying this other word, Maharishina, right? Is it singular or plural?
Singular.
It's singular. So it's very interesting that Vedanta Deshika uses the plural when he talks about the commentator, Bhashyakara. But when he talks about the actual author of Mahabharata, Vedavyasa, or as you said, Vaishampayana, there are many rishis which he could have been talking about in Mahabharata. He uses only the singular. Therefore, he gives more importance to the commentator than he gives to the actual author of the work.
There are 3 points on your beautiful delineation which you just now presented. Number 1, it is more relevant to say that Dhritarashtra is more afraid than to have doubts. He doubts his own sons. He doubts his own sons' strength to win over Pandavas, though they are, as you said, less in number, 5, just 5, plus the quantity of the army also is very less. 11 minus 4, it will be 7. Dhritarashtra has the fear. Arjuna has a doubt. The beautiful word in Sanskrit will be, both fear and doubt are denoted by a single word called Shanka. Shanka is fear and doubt. Whereas you have got separate words for doubt and fear. Doubt, Sandeha, samshayah, fear, bhayam, trasaha. There are so many words for fear. There are so many other words for doubt. But what is the general word for common word for both fear and doubt is shanka. Dhritarashtra has a shanka. Whereas Duryodhana has no shanka. According to Sri Ramanujacharya's beautiful interpretation of the aparyaptam balame tesham balam bhishma virakshitam. Paryanti idamam tesham balam bhima virakshitam. So this army of ours protected by Bhishma is not enough. Aparyaptam is not enough. Is not sufficient. Is insufficient to go against Pandava's army. Whereas Bhima's army is more strong, stronger than us, though it contains less number of soldiers, 7 Akshovinis. We have got, I have no doubt that Bhima will win. Bhima will win. He is very sure of his success, Bhima's success. Number 3, especially give attention, all of you please give attention to 2 expressions of Duryodhana. Madarte tyakta jivitaha in the first chapter. Madarte tyakta jivitaha. There are people on my side. There are so many people faithful to me. There are many people, relatives, friends, and so on, preceptors like Bhishma, Kripacharya, leave out Drona. He suspects Drona. He suspects his preceptor, Drona. Therefore, leave Dronacharya. So Bhishma is not, is above suspicion. Bhishma also comes under doubt. But Kripacharya doesn't come under doubt. So all these are believed. He says, Madatte Tyakta Jivitaha. He has already given a conclusion to the Mahabharata war. Mahabharata war is concluded by Duryodhana in the very first chapter. All belonging to my side army are already dead. They are not alive now. It is a past tense verb. Madatte Tyakta Jivitaha. That doesn't mean they are ready to give up their lives for me. No, they have already given up their lives. Now take the words of Lord Krishna to Arjuna. Don't think that you are killing. You are killing the enemies. I have already killed them. So you are not killing the killer. I am the killer. So I destroyed them. Paritranaya sadhuna minachaya chastuta. Dharma samsthapanartha. So I did my duty of killing. You didn't do it.
So here
you are aiming at your arrow at the dead people. You are aiming the arrow at the dead people.
So Krishna is
Already
teaching the Tattvika. Krishna is teaching the Sattvika Tyaga. He's teaching the mentality of Sattvika Tyaga when he says that I am killing them, you are not killing them. So he's teaching Arjuna Sattvika Tyaga.
Again, as he says, the soul can never be killed also. The soul can be, only the bodies are slain. The bodies are slain, not the souls. So that is another, of course, philosophical aspect. Then coming to your last point in your presentation, I think you said, I forget that.
About Bhasyakara and Maharishina.
You are right when you say Bhashyakarahi by many commentators, especially Sri Ramanujacharya. That can be also taken. Then why Maharishina in singular? We say in English also he is singular in popularity. He is singular in popularity. He is a Vyasaya Vishnu Rupaya, Vyasa Rupaya Vishnave. So Maharishina, we take liberty with the God. We cannot take much liberty with the preceptor. Acharya is above the God. The God is not equal to Acharya. Acharya is little above the God. So Acharya, respect towards Acharya should be more than what you show respect to the God. That is why Maharishna is in singular. Now, when you start saying something, you start with the singular and then tries to understand, oh, I forgot that I must say only in plural about my preceptor. A preceptor is more respectable or respectable than the God himself, Almighty himself. I used to say to the students, the immediate God in your presence is your parent. Your parent, Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. So, Tvameva Mata cha Pita Tvameva. So here, Mata Devi, Tvamasi Bhagavan, Vasudeva Pita Me. Swami Vedanta Deshika says in Sristuti, 22nd verse. Mata Devi, Tvamasi Bhagavan, Vasudeva Pita Me. Goddess Mahalakshmi is my mother, and Lord Narayana, Sriman Narayana is my father. So in that way, all the roles are rolled into one. All the roles are rolled into one in case of the Almighty. And whereas Sri Ramanujacharya says in the Gadyam, the Saranagati Gadyam, he says, the mother, father, Gurun, Bandhun, Tyaktva, giving up all the relationship between you and the relatives like father, mother, teachers also. Tyaktva. That is the what you call the attitude of helplessness, Karpanyam. When all these are not able to protect me, only one refuge is there, one shelter is there, that is the Lord. The plural is for giving more respect, Vakshakaragi, or as you said, commentators in plural, many commentators. Now, he also respects, Swami Vedanta Deshika respects all other commentators like Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya. In Sri Bhashyam also you find that Ramanujacharya respects other faiths, other philosophies. And he doesn't criticize philosophies as useless and bad and false. They are also respected, but they are refuted. Another point that I would ask the other participants, you can also give us in a short form what you understood as a concept. For example, I'll tell you an example. I was explaining a single verse of Hayagriva Stotram of Sri Vedanta Deshika today. It is said, Dakshinya Ramya Girishasya Murtihi Devi Sarojasana Dharma Patni Vyasadayopi Vyapadeshya Vachaha Puranti Sarve Tava Shakti Leshaihi. This is a small verse in the Hayagriva Stotram of Sri Vedanta Deshika. So here he says, the popularity or the usefulness or the boon-giving capacity of the other gods like Shiva and Brahma, or rather the wives of Brahma and Shiva. It is Saraswati and Parvati. And again, another form of Shiva called Dakshinamurti. They are all sympathetic towards the devotees because of Hayagriva's blessing. Dakshinya Ramya Girishasya Murti. It can be either taken as Ardhanarishwara form, namely half Parvati and half Shiva, or Shankara Narayana, half Shankara, half Shiva and half Narayana. Then Devi Sarojasana Dharma Patni. Lord Brahma has a beautiful wife, faithful wife, what you call chaste wife. Why? because of Hayagriva's blessing. And Vyasadayopi Vyapadesha Vachaha. Even Vyasa, Parashara, and all other very great sages, their words are now powerful because of you. Vyasadayopi Vyapadesha Vachaha. So, in a nutshell, you can compare this particular verse of Hayagriva Stotram with another verse of Swami Vedanta Deshika in Sri Stuti. Asamsaram vitatam vangmayam yad vibhuti yad bhrubhangat kusumadhanushat kinkaro merudhanva yasyam nityam nayana shatakaihi ekalakshyo mahendraha padme tasam parinati rasau bhavaleshaistadiyaihi. So this is how you give explanation from one verse to other verse, comparing one thing to another one.
कवितार्किकसिंहाय कल्याणगुणशालिने श्रीमते वेङ्कटेशाय वेदान्तगुरवे नमः।